remember Seth Godin? He recently wrote on his blog, "That's a good idea." And then what happens? Repeat the second question 100 times because after every good idea there are at least 100 steps of iteration, learning, adjustment, innovation, and effort. Starting with the wrong idea is a waste of energy and time, but not committing to the 100 steps is a waste of a good idea. There are endless examples of this kind of iteration, even in what we have looked at in this training. Edison's 10,000 ways of discovering how not to invent the light bulb is one of the most famous, and you wouldn't be watching this if he'd given up, unless someone else figured it out, but anyway, it's a good story. This re-asking and re-looping of the simple question, "and then what?" is surely the source of most people's belief that I am just not that creative, that we started this whole process with. Quote, not creative people get an idea and it doesn't seem like much, so they get discouraged. They don't understand it never seems like much. That this is the exact difference between a quote creative person and a quote not creative person. As a creative person, you don't stop at your first idea and think, that's no good. You know your first idea is crap. Or, if it happens to be good, it's a fluke, and you're damn lucky. Not creative people don't understand that even creative geniuses' sudden eureka moments aren't really that. They're just a step up from a slightly worse idea. Archimedes' seminal eureka came at the end of a long string of pondering. As a writer and creative professional, the impact on me of a sudden realization that solves a problem depends on the importance of the problem. If it's a problem that I have barely perceived, the solution is far less profound than one solving a cold stumper. Think of an idea as a key. A key is only valuable if it opens a lock. And there are two kinds of locks our creative ideas are aimed at. First, locks you aim to open from the start. Goals given to you or that you set based on a need you perceive within or outside of you. Ideas that meet a market need. Or, locks you don't even know are there yet. Goals driven by the idea itself. Ideas that create their own market. The moon landing opened the first kind of lock. Humans have yearned to travel to the moon at least since we realized what it was. Nations started getting serious about it 100 years ago, and finally JFK set it as a serious goal in a 1962 speech. It took only 6 years to unlock that vision, and we knew it was the right lock that had been opened because, well, Neil Armstrong took one giant leap on the lunar surface. Post-it notes opened the second kind of lock. Famously, these started as a failure, a super weak adhesive, in an experiment designed to create a super strong one, in fact, to build aircraft with. What kept the glue from being ignored entirely was its strange internal power, the property of being able to be removed and reused without damaging anything. The glue's inventor, Spencer Silver, notably called the substance a solution without a problem. His colleague Art Fry showed this to actually be untrue when he started using the glue to stick notes in his church choir's hymn book so that they didn't get lost. 5 years after Silver first made this glue, a management change at 3M opened the chance for him to try it out on a commercial product. But it was the absolutely wrong product, a bulletin board imbued with glue to stick papers to. Hardly anyone bought this. Fry got a movement going within 3M to use the glue the way he did, to stick papers onto various surfaces, and it went internally viral. But when 3M tried to sell this use to outside companies, it failed again. A year later, 3M gave it one last shot, guessing that the reason potential customers weren't converting was because they needed to try the product first. And giving away free samples worked. Post-it notes were a hit, a decade after they were discovered, at a company with enormous marketing power that could have launched at any time they wanted, if they had only known what the lock looked like. 40 years later, we still need this lock opened every day, and Post-it notes are still the key. It's never the key on its own that helps you know where you are. It's always how the key fits the lock. A beautiful phrase in the wrong poem may clang the ear. A revolutionary engine in the wrong car won't even fit in the bonnet. You will never get anywhere with only a key. You might have to create the lock that can open, but you absolutely need that lock for the key to have meaning at all. When you are examining the way forward now and trying to decide whether you have reached the end or whether it's time to reiterate, you need to understand first of all, is your key designed to open an existing lock or a new one? The question ultimately is simple. Does the key open the lock? Any idiot can stick a key in a lock and turn it. Either way, get this, you're not stuck. Take this toward mastery and you can see it's never the idea, the key, that gives you comfort, joy, or insight, combining to the excitement of a eureka discovery. It's also not the lock. What gives pleasure, actually, is knowing the key fits the lock without even trying it. It takes wisdom to achieve that. During the coronavirus pandemic, many found that the nature of the problem they had been working on for a long time changed overnight. This was bad for organizations who were churning out the solution to a problem they had solved, and seemed fatal for ones who were nearing a solution. Boom! COVID. That's the danger of one key per lock. In asking yourself if you are ready to implement, check out this E.L. Doctorow quote. Writing a novel is like driving a car at night. You can see only as far as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. While the headlights do get you there more comfortably, they won't get you far without the car itself, the destination, the map, and the road. All of those parts are as important as the lights, but Doctorow left them out. Yes, the trip would be rocky without the lights, but maybe worse without the car, no? And if you don't know the destination, and you forgot the map, or if there were no road signs, or no road? I mean, what good are headlights glowing in your hands as you stand in a muddy field with nothing else and no idea where you're going? But this is a metaphor, so maybe the lights are enough. One student asked, shouldn't the vision be worked out before we depart? In other words, how can the car move before we even know where we're going? Yet, that's creativity when you get down to it. We stand in front of an empty paper with crayons in hand. We begin to color in without knowing. The car is safety, the seatbelts and airbags and metal frame. The road is identity. Who you are is what you are moving on. The lights are integrity. The brighter the lights, the easier it all is. The fuel is possibility. Without the fuel, the vehicle isn't going. The map is vision. It guides you. Connection is the destination, the lock you are opening or reconsidering how to open. The truth is you can scramble those up. That is the truth of inactivity. The steps don't run in order. How could they at thousands of RPM and multiple streams of illogical parallel thoughts? The inactivity pyramid isn't reality. It's a tool to manage reality. A tool that works, but still just a tool. Every step of the pyramid is also a tool, just like every part of the car is. They're all just tools to achieve a purpose, and that purpose is the trip itself. And yet, what is the trip? It's not just the motion from point A to point B, or the achievement of delivering the vehicle or yourself, or the stretch of road you've driven over, or the fuel you've used up, or the people or place you've left, or the people or place you've arrived at. It's none of that and all of it. Someone says, draw a car, and you take the blank paper and you draw one. Even a 5-year-old knows that the drawing of the car is not a car, and also that the drawn car isn't the point. And yet, you so often live like it is, don't you? You learn as you get older that the right way is to study what cars look like before drawing them. The originality lie gets built as it's exposed. You happily inherit the notion of a car, so you can draw it. You get frustrated when someone says what you've drawn looks like a Mercedes when it's supposed to be a Volkswagen. The exploration is the journey. It's everything that's not in the metaphor, that's not on the map. A hotel wall stained in the corner with cream cheese, the happy child playing in the dirty pool. The way the sun bounces off the butte as you pass it. Then when you get your friend to look, the sparkle's gone already. A man at the corner playing a banjo while his small dogs dance, who isn't there when you go back the next morning. None of this gets the car there. But without it all, there is no journey. The creative journey is a series of thoughts you can never quite trace. It's not in the turns of the tires or in the steps you take. It is in the waves in the water. The waves are not there, and yet the water moves. The waves are not the water. The waves are not the light that shows us the water. The waves are not the sound the water makes. And yet they are there. There they are. And without the waves, none of that would happen. You get stuck when you focus on the tools. When you focus on the journey, you experience freedom. We began this process with the originality live. Let's end it with a live genius. You already know that everyone is born creative, that creative genius is made, not born. Or to be technically correct, creative ungenius is unmade. In comparison to their own situations, ungeniuses suppose that creative geniuses' ideas come out fully formed. Okay, they can even accept that these great ideas were inspired by Picasso or MacGyver or my little sister. But they don't understand how seemingly ugly ideas can set us off on a beautiful journey. Yet, no artist of any form will honestly say their first ideas are often good. Only someone without dignity, honor, integrity, or pride will attempt to deceive you like that. Writers are the best of all to ask because 1. Their first drafts are always terrible, and 2. They keep them anyways. As Ernest Hemingway famously said, the first draft of anything is shit. Kurt Vonnegut said, we have to continually be jumping off cliffs and developing our wings on the way down. There's a whole lot of other great first draft quotes that are included in the text that goes along with this video. Your higher power may send you a great idea, but you still have to work on it with passion, focus, and perseverance, because the purpose isn't opening the lock, and it's the mistake of thinking that costs you more than anything. I myself experienced writing a sculpture. First, I must throw the clay into place, then I can carve it. Yes, you have deadlines. Yes, faster solutions means you earn more, win more respect, get promoted faster, publish more books, register more patents, deliver more business plans, make more money. And yet, because you are creative, you know. You know that embracing the journey and forgetting about the end of it yields better results than anything else. You know that creativity isn't predictable, and inactivity isn't measurable. You know it when it happens, though. So how do you know if it's time to go forward and implement? Or if you need to go back and reiterate? You ask, and you listen. You build mastery and you begin to know without knowing. If you got it wrong, so what? You'll get more ideas again, and you'll try again until you get it right. A baby blurts out, "Mama." It only knows that it got it right when it gets the smile, the laugh, the feedback. The feedback is how you know. You master language and you begin to get comfortable knowing when the sentence can leave your head and be expressed. Yet the more you know you can let it go, the more you begin to hold it back. You start to wait to take the journey until the map is ready, and then you start to forget the point of the journey is the journey itself, not the map. There are only 2 ways to know whether an idea is ready: internal testing or external testing. Either you know the time is right or someone outside advises you. Either way, in the end, it's internal because only you can decide on the advice too. If you're a team or an organization, it still gets decided inside you. There's no wrong or right, just yes or no. Of course, you started at the beginning, so the whole process is messed up. You must never start at the beginning, ever again. Please start in the middle. Start with the key. The key is the journey. Everything else is a tool. Every step is really the same step. So you go back. You step up to the blank paper and the crayons as you did in the first place. And again, you begin.